Hey everybody! I'm showing like 12:14 and I promised you I'll be here at 12:15, so I'll give you a couple minutes to pop on if you like to. If you've never seen me before, you're going to share this with someone who's not seen me before. My name's Melissa. I'm I guess the owner and founder of One Self Personal Coaching, and I'm a life coach, and I specialize mostly with mothers who are trying their damnedest to deal with this whole first world mom thing that we have going on, where you really have nothing to complain about because here we are in the first world, but it's hard. It's super hard. All right. Hey everybody, I see a couple people have joined in already, so I'm going to get straight to it. If you can't say something nice, then don't say nothing at all. Okay? So if you haven't heard that before, I'd be surprised. But have you said it? As a mother, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm saying it all the time. I'm like, really? Was there not a kinder way to say that? Really? You had to word it that way. Now, I first heard this saying when the character Thumper recited these words in a 1942 Disney animated classic called Bambi. If you haven't seen it, go for it. Bring some tissue because there's a sad part at the beginning. And I think that most people believe the mantra, but aren't always ready and willing to put it into practice. And so I was wondering why. Why is it so difficult to say nice things? Now, you don't have to tell me how powerful words are. That's why they're my shield and my sword of choice. So shame researcher and PhD Brene Brown, in her latest book, says language matters. It's the raw material of our story. It changes how we feel about ourselves and others, and it's a portal to connection. With the same amount of power, language can also be used to strip people of dignity and humanity. But why are we saying these harmful things? Why do we believe it's okay to say them? And why is it okay in 2022, but not in 1942? What would it be like for us if we didn't say them? How would it change our virtual, working, and social relationships? What if we replaced our unfiltered comments with kindness? All right, there's a lot to roll around in there, so let's go to it. With the increase of digital communication, we've seen a significant decrease in face-to-face communication. And here's a perfect example. So when we can't see a person's face or body when they speak to us, we literally miss out on at least 70% of what's being conveyed. That's why your dog isn't likely to respond to your in-home AI device as well as your dog responds to you. Because that's just some disembodied voice. There's no subtle expressions, no natural tone of voice, and no actions to reinforce your message. And then we all become a version of this disembodied voice every time we hit send on a text or an email or leave a social media comment. So our personal experience may not be reflected accurately. And then because of the creative genius of the human mind, the receiver can turn it into anything they want to. So that leads us right up the social media alley, because these types of platforms seem to incubate that meanness that resides within us. So in early 2019, I went into my Facebook account and I unfollowed everyone with like 2 or 3 exceptions. The only content that I allowed to adorn my feed was from sources that commit to honesty and kindness the way that I see it. And this meant unfollowing friends and family members who encouraged things I didn't agree with, like racial segregation. They were sharing unfounded accusations and information about populations of people they knew nothing about, and were at times perpetuating a mindset of divisiveness. And I'm just not into this. Around the same time, I also stopped watching the news because it was just too overwhelming for me to be inundated by all the stuff that the news tells you about, you know, death, destruction, hate, violence, disaster. And it might seem like those were extreme measures to a lot of you, but I have extreme emotions, and uncensored exposure to that type of information only serves to keep the dragon of my depression well fed. So with everything that's going on in Canada and globally right now, it doesn't take much imagination to see how this ungoverned mosh pit of comments on social media can breed polarity and discord en masse. People that we know, love, and respect in our real lives can stun us with what they're willing to say on social media. And I'm no exception. Why is this? And so I did a bit of research, and I believe that it's a jumble of factors. And at the top of the list is anonymity, or the perception of anonymity. Most people would never consider saying in person the stuff that they're willing to post because there's no repercussion if they say it in a post. Like, what is Joe from Indianapolis going to come over here and make me regret posting it? Psh, right? We're not always saying that, but that's what we're thinking. No, there's no one doing this. And if they do, it's easy to wave that off as well. So we don't often know the people that we're talking to or about. And this perceived disconnection gives us both motivation and courage to say things we might not normally say. And there's a song lyric that goes, "Say it in the street, it's a knockout. Say it in a tweet, it's a cop-out." Now that's a big message in a few words, but we all know what it means. So again, humans are just such interesting creatures. We have this hunger for this sort of like intangible essence called power. Now, power is not inherently good or bad or evil, but rather the intention with which we use it can be viewed as good or bad. So when we get on social media or email or wherever, where we can make these loud statements, on these platforms that have a wide reach with very little repercussion, it makes us feel powerful. And it might even be those that feel the most powerless in their day-to-day lives that try to feel the most powerful when they're online. So closely related to that feeling of power is the subsequent pleasure that we derive from it. And that combination of anonymity and consequence-free commenting gives us that sought-after dopamine rush of pleasure. We feel in control, and there's no one to stop us, so why not? It's a free country, freedom of speech. Those are really great places to hide when we've said and posted something that we wouldn't normally say to someone's face. And you've heard the expression, we're all in this together. We may be even in a house full of friends or family and be having completely separate experiences because we're all engaged with tech instead of one another. Now, we're not always going to agree with and be agreed with when we're in a diverse group of thinkers. And that leads me to my next point. There's comfort in solidarity. We no longer have to physically be with someone who shares our views. And this is the shiny side of social media. Perhaps it's even the original intent to bring us together. However, not everything that brings us together is conducive to an honest and kind existence. Common hate-based ideas are perpetuated online and connect individuals into groups where their ideologies can be strengthened by their numbers. And the support of others can give us the courage to speak up and share our thoughts, regardless of the potential harm. And as much as the online world can connect us, it can also foster massive division between people who may otherwise be friends or enjoy each other's company. Now, I've read comments from beautiful, kind, intelligent people that were so filled with malice that I wouldn't have believed it if I hadn't seen it with my own eyes. Now, I, myself, have also made comments during the last couple of years, sharing my feelings about COVID and the mandates in my country and province, and they were all honest. Kind? No. Thoughtful? No. Considerate? No. I spouted off, right? Now, thank goodness that my social reach is very, very small, and I was met by minimal backlash. I do, however, believe that I hurt someone that I know personally who has both the grace and the respect and the courage to call me out on it in a very kind way. And there was discussion. It's settled. And for that lesson, I'm very grateful. Thank you also to the kind people who know me well enough not to judge me based on a random social media post and respectfully talk about me behind my back. I'm being serious. Talk about me behind my back, because what you think about me is actually none of my darn business. And if you're going to be saying unkind things, I'd rather not know about it, because I tend to carry that stuff around. So if you've seen something that I've said or whatever, talk to somebody about it, have feelings about it, do you. But I don't need to know, unless you feel like you can say that to me in a kind and honest way for the benefit of our relationship or my benefit. Okay. Whew, that got a bit heavy. Thanks for hanging in with me. So if you've noticed some of these things or experienced some of what I've described, you might want to do something about it. And the best place for us to take action on this is in our own lane. That's right. Our inaction might actually be our most powerful course of action when we're looking to avoid and help diminish meanness in both the virtual and the real world. Do tell, you say. Well, all you have to do is take a tiny pause before you hit enter on the next anything that you type into social media. And during that pause, just ask yourself, is what I'm saying here honest? Is what I'm saying here kind? And if the answer to either of those things is no, then do not hit enter. Okay, you can leave it typed in there and go away, but don't hit enter until you can come back and think about it differently. Now, don't be fooled, my friends. This is not as easy as it seems to be. And that's because we're most often emotionally elevated when we say dishonest and unkind things in posts or emails or text messages. For instance, in my very own curated, G-rated news feed, I'm going to share with you some comments that recently came up. These are quotes. So you mean you're dyeing your wig with 20 different blue hair dyes and not showing the actual result of that painfully long and pointless process? Someone wrote that. And then, at the time I looked that up, 575 people gave it a thumbs up. Someone said something mean, and the 575 other people agreed with it. Further down in the newsfeed, oh man, you're way nicer than I would have been. I'd have been demanding to speak with them. I'd be calling the manager on Monday morning. Well, who hasn't felt like that? I probably felt like that earlier this week. Did I go and post it? Did I encourage meanness? Not that time. Another post I saw. I've stayed quiet until now, but I believe this needs to be said. To all of you who participated in or supported a certain cause, turn on the TV and watch what a real fight for freedom going on in Ukraine. I hope you're ashamed, and you should be. I hope you realize how lucky you are to live in this country. Okay. So those three examples have nothing to do with you or me or the person that they were directed at. All three of those comments were made strictly for the benefit of the speaker. Just like my stupid post was about me and my feelings. We can be mad about injustice that's happening in other countries, totally valid. We can be enraged about people standing up for things that we disagree with, totally fine. We can wish for better customer service in our local stores, for sure. We can feel duped by long-winded videos that promise a rewarding ending and then never give you that. Been there. But there are kind and honest ways to say what people were saying in these comments. And if it's too difficult, there's another option. Don't say anything at all. Like Thumper said. So I thought that just for fun, I would reconfigure those comments in a kind and honest way. Because I feel like this might be the heart of what people were getting at. So those sentiments could have sounded like this. I'm really upset by what I'm seeing on the news and about what's happening in the Ukraine. I am so grateful to be living here where people can disagree without inciting global devastation. Or, I've been really frustrated at that store too. After talking to the manager, though, I learned that they're short-staffed due to COVID. So I'm a little easier going than I used to be. And in the case of that blue hair comment thing, sometimes no comment is better. Demonizing others, diminishing their perspectives, invalidating their feelings is hurtful. And it does not matter that you don't know them personally. They are a human too. They have feelings and worries and concerns, just like you, just like me. And the more we see a certain behavior, the more normal it becomes. And that's why we would never say in 1924 what we're so willing to yell at each other in 2022. So I'm asking you, like on the side of some shopping bag, what do you want to see more of in the world? Post about that. And until next time, keep it honest and kind.